Time to review the Mill Coffee and Teas Vienna Roast. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Scott's EDC and such. I don't know if episode's the right thing that we want to say, but that's what I'm calling it right now. And today we are going to be reviewing the Mill Coffee and Tea Vienna Roast. And you guys can find this over at mill coffee.com. And for those of you that did not see the first video, I had received a recommendation after a video response, call out, whatever you want to call it, from Travis P11, also of Coffee, Computers, and More, on a good recommendation for a coffee that I couldn't get locally. Something that, you know, I said that I can order on the internet, but there's stuff that I can get locally that I can order on the internet. So something that I can't get here locally. And Travis suggested this. Now, there was also a darker roast, which we'll talk about a little bit later, that he recommended, but because my wife likes lighter roasts, I decided to go with this one. And this is the, again, Vienna roast. And this is Subtle Spices Mild Warming Roast Medium Dark, which I thought would work out well because I like darker stuff, she likes the lighter stuff, so a medium dark might work well. 12 ounces from Lincoln, Nebraska. And for those of you guys that watched the first one, I still have no idea what this Circle G7 means. But maybe one day we will find out. Alright, so this bag is basically empty. And I intended on doing my review with the very first cup, but life just did not work out that way. But I kind of like that I've gone through most of this so that I have a better understanding of the coffee, not just a first impression, if you will. And I mean, really, coffee for the most part is going to taste the same the first time that you drink it and the last time that you drink it. But this time, because I was coming from years of just using your standards Folger medium roast, I'm glad that I gave this some time to get my palate off of the Folgers a little bit, if you will. And I am no coffee connoisseur. Just to get this out of the way really quickly, here is there. I'm not sure if this is like their mascot, but this came along with my order. And by the way, that 12-ounce package was about, after a discount for first-time customers, was around $15-16, so definitely worth it. I'm definitely glad that I did this. A little bit of a spoiler alert, but Dan and Tamara and the rest of the staff have done a good job here, and this is their mill girl. Mill cowgirl, I'm not sure. But let's give this a try. Now, this is my Junkyard Fox. If any of you guys are into the outdoors, particularly things like solo overnighters and camping in the desert, desert edibles, knife reviews, some gear reviews as well, then definitely check out Junkyard Fox. And this is their camping mug that has the Junkyard Fox on the cup. So let's give ourselves some coffee here, because doing this review, it's much later than I normally have coffee, which kind of sucks because I want coffee. Make sure the drip action. Now, I hope to get better at doing coffee reviews as time goes on, but I'm given to understand that if you're getting bubbles like this, then it's a fresher roast. I definitely don't get this kind of bubble off of the Folgers. I know it's kind of hard to see there. Don't want to spill hot coffee, but there's bubbles that are slowly popping, but they were all over the place to begin with. And again, harder to tell on screen, but this is definitely a lighter color than something like the standard Folgers is. I would call this, you know, the Folgers is basically all but just black as far as how the coffee looks afterwards. This has much more of a dark brown to it. And again, not a coffee connoisseur, hoping to get there someday. That would be nice. But let's go ahead and give this, wrong direction, let's go ahead and give this a try. You guys can sit here and listen to me slurp. And again, I have had this coffee a bunch of times before. Again, the bag is now empty. This is officially the last of it. And one thing that I will note is that it definitely tastes fresher. If I remember correctly, I don't know if it's from Travis's video, which, by the way, I will put up in, I believe that it's this corner right here, that one. I'll put a link to his video up in that corner if I can, if YouTube will let me, since I'm a new channel right now. For this channel, I'm a new channel anyways. But I believe that he mentioned they do it, like, none of their coffees more than 2 weeks old before it ships out or something like that. I might be wrong, but it definitely tastes fresher. Even having been open for a couple of weeks now, it definitely tastes fresher than the Folgers does, which is basically what we've been drinking up until this point. Costco family. Let you guys know, if you go to Costco, you've seen the coffee. And it's really, really good. The only thing that I can say at this point is, at first, the very first time that I had it, I thought that, and Dan and Tamara, don't take this as an insult, because it's just me getting used to good coffees and telling the difference between things, is I thought that it tasted a little watered down, but after some more experience going back and forth between the Vienna roast and the standard medium roast, if that's what it is, Folgers coffee, is that it's not watered down at all. It's actually really, really, I guess you could say, full profiled. I don't know how else to say that. Again, not a connoisseur. The flavor is definitely there. There's no watered down to it. What I've come to find is that I think that my palate prefers a darker roast. My wife, who prefers lighter roasts, really, really, really loves this stuff. So again, I thought that it was watered down, which it absolutely is not. There's no watered downness to it. It's just that I was used to drinking something darker, and I do think that that's what I prefer, or at least that's what my palate prefers, is something darker. But this is still really, really good. And I know that Squib Load puts a lot of, I shouldn't say puts a lot of, but in a lot of his coffee review videos puts a lot of coffee, again, not a lot, in a lot of videos he puts coffee creamer and stuff like that into his coffee. I think that Travis both does and does not, and I've seen other channels that do and do not, but I exclusively drink my coffee black. I don't put anything in it ever. If I go out and about and there's a Starbucks there, I'm going to work, because I run a completely separate from this channel online business, and if I'm going in there to do some work on my laptop, then I'll get something from Starbucks that has creamer and stuff in it. But other than that, completely just black coffee is my thing. It's just how I roll, if you will. So let's give this another go. It's really, really good. And again, I'm coming to find out just from this one coffee review that I think I do like darker roasts, but this is really, really good. Man. There's just, I don't even know how to explain it yet because I'm not Mr. Coffee Connoisseur, but there is just something different about drinking this cup of coffee versus something that came out of the Folgers. And I don't dislike the Folgers. I actually really like the Folgers, me and my unrefined palate. But there's just something different about it. Maybe it's my brain tricking myself into going, oh, it's fancier, so it tastes better. I'm not sure. And I got some kind of coffee something on me. But there's just something different about it. I don't know if it's a freshness thing. I don't know if it's the lighter roast has a different kind of profile going on that makes it taste different. Obviously they taste different, but I find myself going, I'm enjoying a cup of coffee when I drink this versus when I'm drinking the Folgers, just going, oh, I'm having coffee because it's the morning and I need caffeine. So I'm having and enjoying a cup of coffee versus, well, I'm having coffee because that's what I do, whatever. It tastes like coffee. So again, not the most refined palate in the world, but Dan and Tamara and the rest of the staff, you've done a great job with this Vienna roast. There is another roast that from Mill Coffee and Tea that Travis from Coffee Computers and More had recommended. I cannot remember what it was called. I'll try and put a picture of it somewhere here on the screen so that you can see. And I think that I'm going to give that one a try next. Squib, I think, tried to get a hold of me because I asked him for a recommendation as well. I'm going to try and get a hold of him for his recommendation because he said that he had sent me an email about it, I believe. But I think I'm going to give that one that Travis recommended a try if I don't have one from Squib. But either way, I'm going to give that darker roast from Mill Coffee and Tea a try because this was really good, and I'm not, apparently, I'm coming to learn, as big of a fan of lighter roasts than I am dark roasts, even though I do understand that lighter roasts do have more caffeine in them. I'm sure that the caffeine does something for me in the morning, but I think I'm so desensitized to caffeine at this point that it's more mental than anything that gets me all popping and going in the morning than it is the actual caffeine content. But so even though the lighter roasts do contain more of the caffeine, because supposedly I guess the caffeine is lowered the more that it's roasted, aka the darker the roast is, but I think I prefer darker blends. So I love this. The Vienna roast is great. My wife, who prefers lighter roasts, absolutely loves it. But I think that I'm going to give the darker roast a try. And again, I will have put a picture of that darker roast up on the screen so that you can see what it is. If you wanted to give it a try, you can give Mill Coffee and Tea a try over at Mill, M-I-L-L, coffee.com. So millcoffee.com. And with that, you guys have yourself a great day. Go enjoy yourselves a cup of coffee and insert video ending that I have not decided on for this channel yet. Bye-bye.